Not sure if anyone can hear me. Broadcast starts streaming. View. Docs. Chat. There we go. Sorry, I'm just getting used to this platform for live streaming, so I'm going to be learning on the fly here. But you guys can hear me? Okay, good. So, and my screen, I assume, is being shared properly. Uh, yeah. Okay, I think we're good. All right. So, thanks a lot for the like. Yeah. Obviously, we've had an unfortunate turn of events here. I'm not sure how many people we've got in the live stream. Looks like just a few so far. So we're looking at, Bitcoin so far not doing too bad, actually. I mean, we'll have to see what happens over the next little while, but we're still maintaining our market structure, at least on Bitcoin. The key thing here is the Nasdaq has completely broken through that 200-day moving average, and we've so far managed to find a little bit of support here. But sometimes this I find immediately after the market close, TradingView doesn't update their data as quickly. It takes a couple hours sometimes to actually see what's happening live. It's just something I've observed a couple of times. Yeah, how is this a crash? I agree. Bitcoin's down 1%. This is what is this, a crash for ants? This is hardly a crash, but it does suggest we could see some further downside here. But for Bitcoin, all it needs to do is hold this range, and we could see a significant recovery. That's one of the things I wanted to actually discuss here. But before we get into that, it is worthwhile having a close look at what's going on with the Nasdaq. Actually, I'm going to see if I can pull up a different version of the chart and see if this one's updating. So, as it stands right now, we broke below. Oh, that's not correct. Sorry. Let me go back into the indices, and we'll try this again. There we go. Yeah, it's still not really updating. So, bottom line here is, yes, we did get that bounce that we were all expecting, and things looked pretty darn good as the day progressed. We were holding up quite well, and then all of a sudden things turned. Not entirely clear what was the catalyst for that, but we have seen a lot of poor results in the aftermarket hours. I'm sure a lot of you have seen what's happened to Netflix. That took a huge dive after hours, and as well as was it Paladon? So I think the things I wanted to discuss here are what we found in the Nasdaq breaking that market structure. Bitcoin didn't follow, at least not immediately. We're in a very critical area here. A false breakout could still be possible on the Nasdaq. We'll have to wait and see what happens by tomorrow morning. Like I mentioned, I haven't been able to watch any of the latest news events. If anyone else has seen it, if you could comment down in the chat. But anything in particular that actually catalyzed this response is not clear. But a false breakout, if we do get one, if the Nasdaq quickly recovers, goes back above that 200-day, then this is a very good and bullish sign. And what Bitcoin does next is also going to be key. As long as Bitcoin can stay above $40,000, and what I think we're going to witness here is a retest of that level. We are going to head back down and retest 40,000 or slightly below 40,000 possibly. This is a pattern that we basically repeated the last time round. The last thing we did before taking off was retest the bottom, and then we launched. This could be that catalyst we're looking for. I've taken to referring to this sort of intersection of trend lines. I've begun calling it the singularity. This is, like I mentioned, this is not something I've seen in a long, really ever. I think that something like this is, I'm not sure what it means, to be honest, but it can only mean we're headed for a consolidation of epic proportions. One of these trend lines is going to win. And as far as I'm concerned, this trend line connecting the former highs and the lower trend line are both support lines. All we need to do is maintain these levels and break the downtrend line. If we can manage that over the next week or so, then I think we have all the reasons in the world to be bullish, at least for Bitcoin. I'm not sure what the Nasdaq is going to do in the short term. I'm not entirely concerned about that. My main reason for looking at that is that the miners are, they follow that. And you don't need any more proof than what you witnessed today to see that to be true. The mining stocks sold off with the Nasdaq, despite Bitcoin holding up quite well. So, yeah, what do we got here? Yeah, Russia banning all crypto. Oh, that would be a big one. I haven't seen that yet. So if that's, I mean, that's potentially true. Let's see what Google has to say about that. Russia central bank proposes ban on crypto mining and trading. Oh, well, then there you go. That would be a pretty big catalyst for this. So, yeah, the bears have got everything that they need to make a test. So this is, if the bears are going to push this below $40,000, they've got to do it now. So we are definitely in a battle for who gets to win, who gets to control the direction of the market for the next few months. So, yeah, we're going to watch this and see how this plays out. I'm still hopeful. I'm still hopeful that this manages to maintain itself. We're going to watch and see what happens, but it's making a run for it as we speak. The volume hasn't quite picked up yet. That initial dip definitely did, but once we reach $40,000, we're going to see significant volumes here. We're going to start to see the liquidations. Here it comes. Yeah, as we're watching this is definitely live and raw. So I'm glad I was able to do this live for once. This seems to be working. You notice I'm not nervous. This doesn't scare me at all. I have witnessed this over and over and over again. If Russia wants to ban mining, we've already seen the results of that. More and more of that's going to end up in the U.S. and other friendly jurisdictions, Canada. And it's I think we're going to see more and more of the nation states that embrace this will benefit, and those who choose to reject it will get left behind. More and more investments will migrate to those friendly jurisdictions. This is part of how I believe the security model behind Bitcoin is entirely propagated or entirely reinforced by human behavior. As long as humans continue to operate in their own best interest, that secures Bitcoin, makes it even stronger. So the competitive nature of Bitcoin and everything about it is entirely reinforced by human nature. This is why it can only it can't help but succeed. So yeah, we've got a little bit ways to go. We just reached and touched and bounced off the uptrend line connecting the lower marks here. So we just touched that. So if that holds, we're in very, very good shape. But I'm maintaining the line that we made before. It's just below $40,000 is my be all and end all line that must hold. If the Bears want to do it, this is their chance. They're not going to get another chance if they cannot pull it off now. There's obviously a lot of buyers, and we're starting to increase that volume, which is a good sign. But we still haven't really seen a whole lot of liquidations. I think that we still need a little bit more to go here. Fed CBDC white paper. That would be interesting as well. Yeah, this is all stuff that I haven't had a chance to have a look into, so it's good to hear from all of you what's going on. Federal Reserve on Thursday released a discussion paper that examines the pros and cons of a potential U.S. central bank digital currency or a CBDC. It invites comment from the public and is the first step in a discussion of whether and how a CBDC could improve the safe and effective domestic payment system. The paper does not favor any policy outcome. So yeah, this is something that I'm going to do a little bit more research into as, I've got some reading to do. But yeah, this is what we were expecting. This is why 2022 is going to be a critical year for regulations. And one of my predictions was that a CBDC will make its debut this year. I don't think the Federal Reserve is about to embark on that so soon, but I do think that somewhere in the world, the first CBDC will make its debut. And suddenly nation states and federal central banks are going to enter into the world of cryptocurrencies for the first time. I don't think that this is a bearish development. This was inevitable. This is required for the full integration of these technologies. The fact that they're embracing this technology, albeit I do think it is a far inferior product, and it may take some time for some people to acknowledge that. But I do think that that's the direction things are going to be going. I will agree. Yeah, bleeding out. It's getting old. We haven't hardly been able to experience multiple days of gains. The best we ever get is what we saw today, and we couldn't even hold on to those. We ended up closing out the day pretty much exactly where we closed off yesterday. And after market, we've seen us head quite a bit lower. So far, yet again, we've bounced. The Bears are going to have to mobilize a whole lot faster than this if they're going to make the most of this situation. But honestly, I think it won't be long before the narrative flips and they start talking about all these things as bullish outcomes. Russia banning Bitcoin. The thing you have to realize is, especially when you have oppressive regimes that ban Bitcoin, the outcome of such actions is always the same. It was done in Nigeria. And guess what? In 2021, the highest growth of Bitcoin adoption was in Nigeria. This is inevitably what happens. The same thing happened in India. Whenever these events, whenever these governments take these actions, it only further incentivizes their population to adopt that technology in order to get out of underneath that thumb, that oppressive nature. That's the entire benefit and one of the major use cases of Bitcoin in the first place. So no, I do not think that is going to have a negative impact. It will scare some, so I understand why the price drops like this. But long term, these are good. This is what we expected. So these are buying opportunities. I'm looking forward to see how this all develops. But mainly the fact that after all of this, Bitcoin's managed to post a loss of 1.2%. I mean, come on. Is anybody really scared about this? Mainly, what we're really witnessing is the breakdown in market structure on the Nasdaq. I think Bitcoin will hold these levels. I'm not concerned about this at all. I would be surprised. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I'm just not seeing. I'm not seeing the bears turn up here. But we haven't reached that 40,000. We haven't. I think that we'll see some liquidations at and around those levels, assuming the bulls can push it down that far. It's not that much further. They only need a couple percent to get it there. So we'll see how this plays out. So obviously today maybe might have been a selling opportunity. Certainly when we were up the midday there. But we don't know how things are going to develop by tomorrow. Obviously, I've made it clear tomorrow's a big day for the options market. Those yearly contracts are expiring. So after tomorrow, we'll see how the market responds. Now that all those contracts are expired and the vast majority of the amount of the money, those market makers have made a boatload of money. Be interesting to actually see what the total dollar value was of all of that open interest that expired worthless. It's remarkable the amount of money that those entities can earn and basically still own the underlying asset. So yeah, Bitcoin is continuing to show that support. Thanks. I'm glad to hear that. This is Liam. Nam D3VO19. I'm glad to hear that people have learned about crypto from me. That was one of the goals that I had for myself, was just to educate people, to understand this, explain it in a way that I find that on YouTube there's not a whole lot of good sources. Obviously, a major exception to that rule being Andreas Antonopoulos. That's how I learned. I don't know if a lot of the people that watch my channels, I've shared a lot of his videos and a lot of his teachings. It goes a long way. I mean, I can never get bored of watching. I'm pretty sure I've watched just about every video he's ever made from beginning to end, some of them multiple times. Yeah, now again, as far as where we got, you can see Bitcoin's structure here. This was the downtrend line that we got rejected from this morning. So I was not surprised to see that happen. I mean, it was a perfect setup. I mean, really, that was a good spot to take a little bit of profit. But I mean, it remains to be seen how things play out after this. As I already mentioned, the last time we did something like this, all that happened was the bull showed up and we launched. The timing of this is, I mean, it's as coincidental as it gets. Yeah, the fact that these contracts are expiring tomorrow, really, to me, it's awfully suspicious. I mean, I cannot help but observe that, especially if we do bottom here and take off. I mean, it's going to be really hard for anyone to make any claim that there's not some level of manipulation in these markets, whether it be Bitcoin or especially the stock market. I know there's one subscriber of mine who, without fail, in every video mentions the fact that there's a whole lot of manipulation, especially in the stocks. Hates the stock market. I respect his viewpoints. I love that he watches the channel so regularly. The reality here is, even if there is manipulation in the markets, you could use that to your advantage to a certain degree, but in the end, the fundamentals matter. They can mess with us in the short term. They can do all kinds of things, but if we're talking with multi-year or even multi-decade outlook, there's very little they can do to us, even in the stock market. These things are either going to succeed on their own merits or not. And that's really that's the only decisions that we can really make. And that's the only influence we should let affect our decisions. What the price does in the short term, whether that be daily, weekly, monthly, even yearly, it doesn't really change what lies underneath. And either this technology is going to change the world as we know it, or we got all this wrong. But the fact that you have such strong opposition from such powerful entities like China and Russia that are trying to remove it from their shores, clearly they see it as a threat. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing this. And something that is that powerful to make nations that actually control so much power within their borders, to make them fear it. There's value in that. There's clearly value in that. And the fact that Russia is doing this only further incentivizes the United States to embrace it. Because if it's going to hurt them, that's better for the United States to obtain more control. At least that's how they're going to view it. I'm excited to see how this is going to develop. And yeah, like I said, this is the moment that the bears have been waiting for. So let's see if they can show up and take this to task. But so far, I'm not seeing the volume. Obviously, we'd have to see what happens on the blockchain and see if we have enough deposits into the exchanges worldwide. Sometimes there could be a delay for these dips. It could take a couple of hours for these transactions to clear on the blockchain for large deposits that would flow into the exchanges, and then we'll see what happens. That's why sometimes you do get a little bit of a delayed reaction. So this could play out overnight. But again, I do think that we are going to test this barrier, because the liquidations that would result is a great way for a lot of these whales to accumulate a large amount of coin. Yeah, so the 1-year options, as far as Bitcoin is concerned, this is a stock market thing. And it's not just Bitcoin mining stocks. This is all stocks across the board. The annual contracts in the stock market expire tomorrow. Bitcoin's annual contracts, they actually expired at the end of the year, so they're not the same thing. But let's face it, the market makers in both Bitcoin and in the stock market are the same players. So the incentive still exists to maintain. I didn't believe that we would dip the way we have going into this expiration. I more expected us to just stay range bound until that time ran out. We're definitely, as far as that max pain price, we're substantially below those levels. So that's also one theory that could be made. A case could be made that we could see a significant rally tomorrow. Like I said, Bitcoin's not down that much. And the bulls could take this as a sign that if the bears couldn't manage to bring us below 40,000, even after all of this, that's about as good a buying signal as you're going to get. Yeah. What else we got here? What else you guys want to talk about? While we're waiting for Bitcoin to decide what it wants to do, I'm going to take a quick look at the Nasdaq and see how it's faring. So far, again, yeah, we've got a little bounce. But yeah, being so far below the 200-day, we've got to get back up there by morning if we're going to have a nice day tomorrow. We have, like, as far as breaking levels like this, the 200-day usually is, well, let's just have a look at the weekly chart so we can get a longer term. Well, this one's not any good. Let's go to this one. Some of these charts don't go back as far into history. Having a hard time finding one that we can rely on here. There we go. That's better. Yeah, so as you can see, I mean, it's pretty apparent that, especially when you look at long-term charts like this, even the scariest crashes that we've had in the past, you know, you give it 5 years and they just look like small little bumps in the road. So it's really, really hard to get overly fearful at a time like this. But all the same, yeah, you can see how things sort of repeat over time. So as it stands, even right now on the weekly chart, there's another moving average right there, and we're reaching a structural support level not too far below us as it stands right now, the former low. All of these tend to act as major support levels and very good buying opportunities. Altcoins. Well, I've got a few on my list down here. Not that bad. Matic down 1%. I mean, yeah, down a little bit. Obviously, on the week, it doesn't look all that great. But again, look at this uptrend. Like, holy smokes. Yeah, the Polygon token's doing quite well. Gala is one that I've always been watching. This is now we're starting to see some breakdown in market structure here. But again, I mean, when I first started looking at this token, it was around 9 cents. I still haven't bought it. I still haven't dipped my toe into this. Mainly because I haven't set up a Binance account, and in Canada, this is a coin. I don't think it's available. Maybe that's something I should look into. But yeah, Cardano. Well, let's have a look and see what's on our good old friend CoinMarketCap. I don't trade into a lot of these other tokens much. I just starting to dabble in DeFi, which I'm going to do some more videos on that as I become more familiar with it, but I'm still learning, to be honest. And DeFi is something that has definitely, the bud has fallen off the rose. It's not something that's booming exactly right now. Many of those coins have come down substantially, and yield farming is not what it used to be, but I missed out on that entire run. So bottom line here, like, yeah, we can see Cardano in the 24-hour. Okay, it's down 5%. I've never invested in Cardano. I've had a lot of people that were subscribers on the channel that have tried to get me to look into that. And I mean, I'm an Ethereum bull. I mean, I run a validator. I definitely am more prone to the decentralized nature of Ethereum. While, yes, I'll admit it's nowhere near as decentralized as Bitcoin, but when you compare it to any of these other layer one smart contract protocols, there is no comparison. There's currently we're approaching 300,000 validators on the Ethereum beacon chain. And I am one of them. I'm one of the original beacon chain, one of the original Genesis validators. I think there's only about 20,000 or so on day one. So that's something that no one's going to ever be able to take away from me. And yeah, also got some more videos on a lot of that stuff. I don't know how much in the chat there. I know there's a lot of people that are invested in the mining stocks, and some only the mining stocks, but how many people actually invest? I should do a survey on YouTube on this and see how many people actually invest in crypto, or is it just Bitcoin or Bitcoin and Bitcoin mining stocks? Everyone's kind of got their own poison, as it were. But yeah, proof of stake for all centralized scams. Yeah, everyone's got a different way of looking at this. Honestly, and this is my personal opinion, this is how I look at this. They are more centralized, but again, you have to. It depends on what you're comparing it to. When you're comparing it to Bitcoin, everything is centralized. You can't compete with Bitcoin, and no coin ever will. That's why we need Bitcoin. Always will. Mining on Bitcoin is always going to be essential, which is why I believe in investing in Bitcoin mining companies. There's no Bitcoin without mining companies, ever. I don't care what happens to the issuance or how many halvings go by. There is no Bitcoin without Bitcoin miners. They are critical. So if Bitcoin is going to succeed, then miners are going to succeed, period. But when it comes to Gensler coming after ETH, I'm going to do a video on this. And the thing that people have to realize is that being centralized, say Google is centralized. If somebody wants to go after Google, they can do so through the court system and have a judge award whatever they want, and they'd be very effective at enforcing whatever judgments are passed. For Ethereum, if they want to go after Ethereum, how exactly would they do that? So maybe they shut down the foundation. Maybe they seize the foundation's assets. Well, how does the market, how does the community of Ethereum respond to an event like that? Well, they're not going to sit there and just take it. And we're talking about people that have a lot of money invested in its success. What you would find is the community would respond by rapidly decentralizing itself, even more so. And the key here is it decentralized enough to survive a nation-state attack like that? And is the nation-state particularly incentivized to attack it in the first place? What would they accomplish? If all they accomplish is that they can't shut it down, there'd be no point to that. That would contradict their entire purpose. If they want to prove they can shut it down and all they end up doing is prove they can't, that would be much worse for them in terms of being able to exert any kind of control over it, because all it would do would induce an immuno response of the network. That's how it would be no different with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has still levels of centralization. I mean, let's face it, a lot of these public mining companies growing in the size and the share. I mean, we saw in the Bitcoin Mining Council is about to occupy a large percentage of the overall hash rate. Now, is it possible that since all these Bitcoin mining companies are public companies, if they were to accumulate enough of the hash rate to control the network, 51%. What people don't realize is it takes more than 51% to do any to have any level of effect on the network. The problem here is these are not closed systems that can't respond to changes in threats. And even if in Bitcoin, if a lot of the Bitcoin mining companies did acquire, say, 70% of the Bitcoin hash rate, and the governments decided to put pressure on all of those miners to do whatever, maybe a denial of service attack or who knows what. Well, one, they'd have to go through legal channels to do that. And as soon as they tried, we all know it's happening. They can't hide it. So we'd know immediately what was going on. And the network would respond in kind. It's no different for Ethereum. The key here is being decentralized enough. If all of those validators are easily identifiable, then yeah, you could, like Solana, there's only a handful of them. They're very easy to find and potentially shut down. But with Ethereum, 300,000 validators. A lesser known point on that is that there is a maximum number of validators that Ethereum can actually hold, and that's 1 million. So I have no doubt that Ethereum will reach 1 million validators, which, by the way, that means 32 million ETH must be taken out of circulation for that goal to be achieved. I do believe it will happen sometime after the merge. But yeah, how do you locate and shut down 1 million decentralized validators? Not an easy thing to do. And you don't even need to get them all. Like, you literally would need to get the vast majority of them. So it's not an easy thing to do. I'm not worried about Ethereum being attacked or Gensler going after it. I don't think he really wants to. But I do think that is going to be one of those foggy areas. We're going to have to deal with that kind of FUD throughout the year. But ultimately, I do think that they recognize there's value in this to the economy. The people within their borders want it. And if they want to be reelected, they can't go messing with our money. They know we won't let it happen. So that the only places they can get away with things like that are dictatorial nations where they have a lot of oppressive control. And every time they try to do that, as soon as they tighten that grip, it gets even harder to hold on and maintain that control, because it just drives more of that behavior below the surface, where they can't even exert any controls anymore if they wanted to. They're much better off by regulating it, allowing it to continue, and just give that framework. It's not necessarily consistent with the beliefs of Bitcoin and all of these other cryptocurrencies, but we are going to have to just go through this process. And companies that want to engage in this technology inside those jurisdictions will have no choice but to comply with whatever those regulations are. But the good thing is that once that clarity is made known, then at least the companies know what the boundaries are, where they have to operate. Yeah, so that's kind of how I see a lot of those things. We'll go back and have a look and see what's going on here. Just refresh this page. Yeah, Bitcoin's still hanging on. This doesn't look like anything scary. I mean, we've seen scary. We know what that looks like. For that to happen, we'd have to break 40,000 and then drop fast. Anything less than 10%, and this is nothing. They've got nothing on us. But yeah, Bitcoin is still continuing to show levels of weakness. We're retesting that trend line again. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's definitely interesting to watch this play out, but still, I'm not seeing the volumes. But like I said, there could be a delayed response as people who might have coins in cold storage are trying to get them onto the exchange and start trading with them. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, I fully expect we will retest the $40,000 level sometime between now and tomorrow morning. But when that happens and those liquidations wash through the market, then we get to see what happens next. Sometimes the dip is the catalyst to start the buying. And because we need to wash out those the whales and want to acquire all that juicy liquidated Bitcoin because they don't get too many opportunities like this. So I do think we're going to see that. The question is what happens by tomorrow. What sort of what's the narrative by then? I think that even if it's not tomorrow, next week, it really doesn't matter, over the weekend. I think that this is exactly what we need. This is going to give us that momentum that we're looking for. All that buying volume is just going to enter into this. And I'm not selling. I don't know about you, any of you guys, but there's no way I'm selling at these levels. This is exactly the scenario that we've seen play out many, many, many times. So, and even if it does, if say we do enter a bear market, and 2022 turns into one of those times where we just drift sideways, those are the times that you spend, one, educating yourself, and two, just buying little by little every single week. That's how you accumulate that. So when the next time comes, inevitably, you just sit back, and there's very little that can scare you after that. These are not meant to be scary times. You just have to wait it out, and you'll become just all the wiser. You'll be all the that's how you earn those stripes. 10K. Yeah. I know a lot of people wish they could get 10K. There's a lot of people that would be buying long before we ever got there. It's possible if we do break 40,000, we could drop to 30 fast, like overnight. If we see a liquidation like that, then I would say 30,000 is a hard floor. The fact that we couldn't break it after attempting how many times between May and July, if we couldn't do it then, it's highly unlikely we could do it now. Not after, again, many of the people who are going to capitulate, they've already done it. It's no different than when people used to assume that when Bitcoin crashed below 60,000, we were going all the way back to 1,000. There's no end to that price prediction, and everyone who was waiting for it, I don't know when they ended up buying, but they certainly didn't get that price offered to them. It's highly unlikely we even see 20. Something pretty severe would have to happen for that kind of price action to play out, and it certainly wouldn't be quick. It would take a very, very long time, and the path, if we were to go to a price like that, the path to that price would definitely pass through a higher price first, in my opinion. But this is why the channel is called Empire Building. I mean, yeah, you could go get a job, but if you're not already working, the point that I've really tried to drive home is spend your time building your empire. That's why I called the channel what I did. I wasn't initially going to be focused on cryptocurrencies, but I mean, you talk about what you love, and that's what I get the most excitement out of, as far as, finance, economics, technology. It's exciting stuff, and no matter how long I've been in it, studying it, it always amazes me. There's always something new to learn. Yeah. So yeah, trading Bitcoin miners, it's hard. I've tried it unsuccessfully many times. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you time things perfectly, but all that tends to do is reprogram your expectations, and you expect similar price performance in the future. And usually all that ends up happening is you get disappointed yet again. So, yeah, I mean, here we are, 52-week lows pretty much across the board. And all we can do is hold on. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I still think we hold. We're gonna get that answer here by morning. I think we will get our answer. So yeah, I'm here to see how this goes. Yeah, what else? I mean, we're waiting here. Anytime now. We're only got another $600 to go to get to that 40,000 level, and we'll see the volume. I mean, we had this big liquidation wick here, but when we reach $40,000, the volume we're going to see is going to dwarf this candle. No question. This is going to get very, very interesting. So we're getting close. They're making their run. They're definitely going for it. There's no way we don't reach it at this point. So we're gonna stay live until this happens. We're gonna see how this plays out. Mr. Charles, I'm assuming you're talking about Charles Hodgkins. Hodgkins. Yeah. I'm assuming, Mr. Charles, that's who you're talking about. Yeah, but yeah, it's been brutal. This is there's no question about it. This has been no fun, especially when the expectations everyone had. I find it interesting that when you have the entire community of cryptocurrency influencers, the public, everyone has this expectation that we're headed higher. So if that's the case, who are these people selling? I've never really quite understood that, because you have people like Plan B. I'm sure they would have liked to have sold at the top, but everyone had a different expectation. I don't know anybody that was selling. So obviously, yeah, there's the story that Chinese users had to sell before the new year, but then that ended. So who's selling after that? And all we've done is continue to dip, and here we are. So I've often wondered that. I don't know who is the ones doing the selling. The market makers, that's the only explanation I can think of. And there's some more videos I wanted to do on that in terms of manipulation and how they do it. There's more, if anyone that's actually watched my video that I did on that, where I showed those clips from the Daily Show with Jon Stewart and what's his name? Sorry, I'm drawing a blank right now. Mad Money, Jim Cramer. So there's a much longer, the full clip of this interview where he talks about how to manipulate markets as a hedge fund manager, and how little money it takes, and how rewarding it is and satisfying. And just all the dirty tricks that they play. When we've all experienced that, where you feel the price just bleed out all day long for seemingly no reason, no news, no nothing. It just bleeds, and it has an effect on people's mentality, people's expectations, and it gives that overall negative feeling to these markets. And if you're a day trader, if you're watching this and trying to enter and exit positions, and these things start happening, it messes with your head. They know how to toy with you. I think it just from years and years of observing market behaviors, they've got it down to a science. And he talks about it in that video where basically if you want the price to go lower, you've got your bid and your ask. If you want it to go lower, you see the bids of people who are wanting to buy, which is below the ask. You they do that by selling to a bid and then posting an ask lower. And then selling to a bid, posting a lower ask. They just keep doing that repetitively. And they can push the market lower, little by little, causing it to bleed. But they wait until volume, like market opens, you notice that there's a lot of fluctuations. But once it reaches a stable level, volumes drop. And that's the easiest time to do that. So that's a strategy they've used over and over and over again in order to get the outcome that they want. I have no doubt that even right now, the reason why we might not be seeing as much volume is they're slowly trying to get the price down to that level. Once they get it there, right now, the bots are in control right now. They're the ones playing this market. They just got to get it down there. Once they get it down there, the volume's gonna jump up fast. But they don't need to dump it hard right now. They don't want to do that because that's going to induce a lot more buying. They want to get it down to that level and liquidate those longs. It's going to happen. And a lot of those longs probably see it coming, so they're going to have to close those positions if they don't want to get fully liquidated. That's also going to be contributing to this downside. So, yeah, I don't know. Everyone's freaking out. Random Junk 99, I hear you. But yeah, thanks for coming along for this ride for since April. I appreciate the views. I appreciate the community that's been here. Yeah, we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, but it's not looking good right now. But it's reassuring that it's happening so early after the market close. Because like I said, we will get a resolution here. One way or another, we're headed one way. As soon as we get to finally test this out, we'll see if the bulls show up. A little bit of dry powder certainly helps for moments like this. But either way, if you're dollar cost averaging, it doesn't matter. It could drop another 50%. I mean, that would bring us all the way down to $20,000. I don't think Bitcoin has it in it anymore. I really don't think it's got it in it to wipe out that much market cap at this level of maturity. This isn't that doesn't help market makers. A 50% drop from here doesn't help them. That's not how they profit. That's not their objective. They don't want the price. I mean, yeah, they'd be great to accumulate down there, but they make money off yield. That's what they want. They want to keep it fluctuating as much as they can, giving people enough of those gains. If everybody leaves the market and things stagnate for a year or two, like it has in the past, they don't make money off that. That's not what they want. So I don't think that's what we're going to see play out. This is not about that. This is simply about acquiring more Bitcoin. That's what their objective is. They want more Bitcoin. And the way they do that is liquidate those longs. Once those longs are gone, there's no more reason to dump the price. There's no incentive to dump it any further. So they just got to get to that 40,000 mark, get that capitulation wick, liquidate them, and then we're golden. There's only thing left to do after that is buy. So that's my prediction. That's how I think this is going to play out. And the good news is we no longer have that much longer to wait. The only question is this truly the end? Is it just up from here? That obviously isn't going to be all that clear. We don't know how that's going to play out. Obviously, we've got to break that downtrend. We've got to see new higher highs. So really, I mean, at the very least, yeah, we've got to reclaim, say, 45,000. That would be enough to provide a really strong signal that this is going to happen. And the crazy thing is, price action like that, a price movement like that could happen overnight. We've seen it happen many times before. If it does, holy smokes, look out, we're in for a run. That would be a definitive decision if that happens tomorrow. I would be surprised if it does happen tomorrow. That would be shocking to me. Namely because all those contracts are expiring tomorrow. They don't want that surge happening before those contracts are expired. So they don't have to have it surge tomorrow. They just have to hold the line. So yeah, they've got those buy orders ready, I would imagine, and all they've got to do is liquidate. And 40,000 is the region that we're looking for. Right now, we're still struggling to get below this trend line. It's so far they haven't been able to pull it off. Just even the long-term trend line, we managed to wick below it just ever so slightly before. We're just below it right now. But I mean, it is just a line we've drawn on the graph. It doesn't mean that much. The psychological barrier of 40,000 means a whole lot more. People like round numbers. I know I do. So if you're going to place a buy order, you'll either do it just above 40,000 or just below 30,000. Just say, hey, I got the bottom. Or everyone wants to be able to post that screenshot on Twitter showing what they bought at the dip. So yeah, we'll see how this. I can't wait to see those, by the way. So if you are one of them, by all means, tag me on Twitter. Show me what you were able to pick up. So this is going to be fun to watch. I'm already tapped out, so there's not a whole lot I can do. Any money I do have is not something I'm trying to get better at. I've done that before. I've literally taken every cent I've got and thrown it in. Sometimes it's paid off, and other times that was hard to recover from. So yeah, these days I try to be more responsible and just let things take its course. Because yeah, if I'm wrong, that's an uncomfortable place to be in. Yeah, especially if you're taking on leverage or anything like that, I don't recommend it. It's very hard to hold on to that if you're wrong. So be careful. Nasdaq 10% lower. Holy smokes! If that happens, yikes! Let's see where we are right now. So far, it's holding its ground, but another 10% drop. Like, I mean, we're talking that would be about 1,500 more. So yeah, that would bring us down to 35-ish, or yeah, 132. That's a lot. That's a long way down. But where would that bring us to? Yeah, that's a big drop. I don't know. That would take a lot. Not to say that it can't happen, but just an arbitrary 10% drop. We'd be breaking through a whole lot of major resistance levels. Again, we've got two former lows here that we held previously. Those are going to be major lines of support. Hard to break through, especially at this momentum. Let's have a look at the daily chart on the Nasdaq. I mean, again, like, you have to remember, these things like to be range bound, and we are now officially oversold at levels we have very rarely seen. So yeah, not easy to just plummet another 10%. BTC will be between 30,000 and 29,000 and 30 for 9 months straight. Yeah, I wouldn't agree with that necessarily. Again, these market makers make more money when the price is volatile. That's what they love. Regardless of what happens to the technology or the adoption, what serves them best is maintaining that level of volatility. I understand all the macroeconomics surrounding the Fed tapering and raising of interest rates, which, as far as I'm concerned, is overblown at this point. obviously the fear here is that we are going to enter into recession. When they raise rates, they have there's a possibility of inducing that. They're going to have to walk a fine line here, and this is the entire use case of Bitcoin. The fact of the matter is, eventually, and who knows how long this charade can be kept up for, but eventually, this entire charade of fiat currency, it's not sustainable. We all know this. This is the one of the main use cases and benefits of Bitcoin is that it is outside of that. So, I mean, if we're really if this is the decision time, if this is the moment that is going to prove whether or not fiat currencies can survive, then that makes me even more bullish for Bitcoin, because it won't be long before people realize that. Now, having said that, this is not my view. I don't think that the Federal Reserve and all the money printing that's gone on and the balance that they're trying to sustain in terms of inflation and full employment goals, or whatever it is that they say, this dual mandate that they have, it's not sustainable. We know that, but it can kick the can down the road pretty far. For all we know, this could survive another 100 years before it collapses. I mean, the fact that it's only gone so far, we're about 45 years or so since they took the fiat, the US dollar off the gold standard. This is, I mean, it's an experiment. They've been experimenting with, fiat currency, money with no intrinsic value. And that's completely manipulated. Fiat is a massive scam as far as I'm concerned, but it is a technology in itself. It is an experiment, much like Bitcoin was. Let's face it. It is also an experiment. Will it work long term? We still don't know that yet. I would definitely bet on it a whole lot more than I would that fiat currency lasting 100 years. I would definitely bet on Bitcoin surviving, outlasting fiat. But we have no idea of knowing how long this can go on for. This is uncharted territory. The U.S. dollar is massive. It is so intertwined with everything that we do worldwide that it's a very hard thing to inflate to the levels that a lot of the Bitcoin maximalists almost seem to get a little excited about. But I don't think that that's how this plays out. I do think that the Fed rates, it's overblown. We've seen far more dire situations than what we have right now. I mean, they raised interest rates to 18% around the year I was born. Like, I remember my parents went through that, and the stories that they've told of what it was like. I mean, mortgages with 18% interest rates. Could you imagine? But it is this low interest rate environment that has existed since then that has fueled this massive bull run that we've been in, that everyone has referred to as the everything bubble. I mean, holy smokes, when you look at the Nasdaq over that period of time, it is mind-blowing. I think I can find that long-term chart here again. I keep clicking off of it. But yeah, I saw their comment. This is TradingView that I use. It definitely has the best tools that I find. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting when you look at how this developed. Well, as far back as we can go, it's we only got well, this is a Nasdaq, so I guess we'll have to go to the S&P 500 if we want to see what things look like in over this long period of time. 30-year price charts are also kind of interesting to watch. Sorry, here we are. daily. Let's go to a weekly chart. And what's also interesting is just have a look at this as a logarithmic scale, and you get a better feel for what's going on here. 1998. Maybe you can go on the monthly chart, see if we can go back any further on the data set. I thought I had, I've looked at this before with taking the market all the way back to the 1920s, or maybe that's on the Dow. Anyways, point being is that this run that we've been in ever since that last crash, this has all been because of the market makers and the Federal Reserve playing with this currency. How sustainable is this? There are a lot of people that believe that this ends one way. Basically, imagine all of this wealth being wiped out right back down to these levels. Like that is what people are talking about. Because all of this is held up on this on top of fiat. This is the thing that people have to realize, is that this is definitely not the outcome that anyone wants to see happen. It would be catastrophic on so many different levels, and Bitcoin would not be enough to save us in that outcome. If it happens, those of us that are, on the ship, on Bitcoin's, in that life raft, will be okay, but we'll be living in a world that's not going to be all that pleasant, whether you've got Bitcoin or not. And in which case, you're going to have to go get pretty tight-lipped about it. I'll probably have to get rid of my YouTube channel. I wouldn't be talking about this anymore. So I don't think this isn't the outcome I see happening. And if it does happen, I don't think it's for a very, very, very long time. What I'm interested in seeing, how I see this playing out, is we are going to go through this transition period where we're going to witness the integration of Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies and fiat currencies as they start to adopt these central bank digital currencies, CBDCs. Just like the Federal Reserve announced today that they're looking at. I'll have to read this white paper. I'll share what I find when I get into that. But it is something that is inevitable, and it's necessary for this transition to occur. And it will gonna enter into a world where you will no longer be held captive by the currency that you were born with. You'll be able to move into any currency you want, despite the country that you live in. Many of these other countries, and the ones that are going to go first, are these the weaker currencies, because they're going to lose that power. This is why this dynamic is not going to be an easy fight. And as far as Bitcoin is concerned, it could see a period of prolonged sideways motion, but I do think it's going to maintain that volatility as well. It's I don't know. That's definitely the hard question to answer, and something I definitely need to reflect on a little bit more. It's a hard thing to predict. Russia and China are haters. XRP will correct everything. XRP, you mean Ripple? That would be interesting. Yeah. So, anyways, let's have another look at old Bitcoin. Still. Oh, yeah, I got the log on. Let's take that off. Still holding. I don't know. I guess I don't know how much more it's going to take, but they like I said, they got to show up. This isn't it's not going to happen all by itself. And the Nasdaq is already finding support here. So if we start to rise again, if we find ourselves above 15,000 by the morning, we could see a major rally tomorrow, a major one, because that's a false breakout. False breakouts are extremely bullish signals. For anyone that's into chart analytics, that is a hugely bullish event when you see something that breaks market structure but fails to continue. It fails to resolve underneath those levels. So, yeah, we managed to close the daily candle below the 200-day moving average, but that's not good enough. We have to stay down there. This candle here must remain below that 200-day moving average. If we're already above that again by morning, that is a majorly bullish sign. So it's going to be interesting. And even if we do extend further, we don't have that much further to go before we reach that local support level, which also could be enough to hold things together. And again, it doesn't matter so much if it happens tomorrow or next week. If it happens at all is all that matters. So that's only another 2.5%. So yeah, we fell about 2.5% today. Not even, no, a little over, according to the SPX, or sorry, SPY. Yeah, either way. Yeah, if we can manage to hold above that, then things could be actually really, really good. So we'll see. It's a long night we got ahead of us. It's going to be somewhat hard to not watch this through the night. But yeah, I don't know. Might have to just let this play out. I was hoping to be able to catch this live. We're close. And odds are I'll turn this off and we'll find that yeah. The down wick that we've been waiting for happens suddenly. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. There's plenty more we can talk about. I want to thank everyone for joining this live stream. I'm not sure how we did here. Like I had, this was a pretty successful live stream. Looks like 1,581 playbacks and currently 162 in the chat. So yeah. This was cool. This was a little bit fun. If you guys enjoyed this, I guess this was I thought would be a pretty big event, so I wanted to get out here and try it out. So if this is something you guys enjoy, we'll do it from time to time. It was fun. So yeah, thank you. And we will end this for now, but I'll catch you guys again tomorrow. We'll see how what the morning brings. And yeah, just keep on holding on, and remember, keep building that empire.